What if it's over? What if $74,000 was the peak for Bitcoin this bull run? And pack your bags, see you in 2028. Do I believe that $74,000 was the peak? It doesn't matter. My answer is no, by the way, but it doesn't matter. That's not what I want to do. What I want to address is that there are people who believe that it's over. There are people, I see it all over X, who are saying that it's over. And they're a vocal minority right now. The more that Bitcoin drops, the more that they're going to get louder and the more that you're going to believe that. And so this isn't a declaration that it's over. By no means do I believe that it's over, but it's more of a, okay, you know what? Let's entertain this for a second and let's say that they're right. What's the game plan? And I do want to point out, if they are right, there's going to still be amazing opportunities to make money for the remainder of the time that we have. And so what if it's over? Let's answer that question here. But before we do so, this is not financial advice. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. And while I appreciate that so many of you are hopping in here from all over the place, you've got to hit that subscribe button. I make multiple videos a week, try to go live multiple times a week, trying as much as possible to keep up with this rapidly evolving crypto space. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube here. Hit that notification button as well so that you don't miss a thing. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on into this. And so if you've been watching my channel at all in 2024, you'll know that I've made a couple videos already kind of along the lines of what we're dealing with now. I started out this year hypothesizing maybe that given global market conditions, we were going to peak at a 702 retrace, which was $53,000. But we blew through that. We hit $74,000. But, you know, there's the question, what if that was all just because of the ETFs? But then we broke through $53,000. We hit a new all-time high before the Bitcoin halving. And so I made an update video to that saying when, not if, while also raising some things that I would just love to see happen to confirm that if we did see these things happen with the stock market, with crypto in general, that we would see Bitcoin go to new all-time highs, go well over $100,000. And I'm still looking for some of those signs. And so I want to remind you of those things. And what's the point of this video? Well, I want to respond to the it's over claims by mostly showing you historically that what we've seen with Bitcoin going from a little under $74,000 to I've seen under $57,000, that's what we call being a crypto investor, and that this has happened many, many times in crypto history. And so I just want to point out, this has happened plenty of times before. And when it's happened, people were saying the same thing that they're saying now. So I want to revisit those claims and where we are, those past claims, and then look at the chart and give some thoughts as to what's going on today. I want to also revisit the context of why I made the if video in the first place. And then the last thing I want to do is I want to get a game plan in place for the event that those calling for a $74,000 peak are correct, not because I believe that they're correct, but because we need to be prepared for all potential outcomes and be ready. Be ready. Because listen, even though I made those videos saying if, and I speculated that maybe Bitcoin was going to peak at $53,000. All right, that's not what happened. But because I had a game plan in place, this is all public. I started taking profits when Bitcoin hit $53,000, but I took profits on my Bitcoin miners, which peaked around the time that Bitcoin hit $53,000. And then I saw altcoins go up and I started taking profits on my altcoins. So I'm in a pretty healthy position right now. And let's get a game plan in place so that you can be in a healthy position to take advantage of the possibility that the people saying it's over are correct. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So that is it for let's exit the slideshow here. Respond to the it's over claims. I just want to point out there's so many things, so many times that I could look at historically that would line up very well with what we're seeing right now with Bitcoin. Here's 2017. This is 2017. Bitcoin was in a range for a while. The bottom of that range was about $1,800. a little bit higher, $500 higher than its 2013 all-time high at a 1.618 retrace of its 2013 all-time high. And it pumped. We had a wonderful few days here, got up to $3,000, almost doubled within a span of 2 weeks. And then you got to live this out in real time. You got to picture yourself on this day. What day was that? June 12th of 2017. Oh no, Bitcoin dropped. Okay, well, buy the dip. Did you buy the dip? Oh no, Bitcoin dropped some more. Buy the dip, everyone. This is your time. This is your best opportunity to buy because, we're going to the moon. All right, yeah, see, we bounced back. Oh, wait a second. Oh no, we dipped. This is every day waking up, looking at the charts, checking obsessively, which I know a lot of you do, and then going to sleep. You're not sure of yourselves. All right, we're climbing, and then boom, capitulation. And it's at this point, July 17th, this is a 2-month window here. July 17th, I can tell you, there were people saying it was over. And that was a 40% drop. We're talking about right now something much less than a 40% drop. Now, I'm going to show you the next slide, and you're going to see something that looks a lot similar, very similar to what we were looking at in this 2-month range in 2017. Does that look any different? Let me try to line it up perfectly here. Oops, don't go that way. Does this look any different? Today, final capitulation right here, 2017. Now, does that mean that we're going to have a V-shaped recovery? We're going to bounce back? No. That means that stuff like this happens all the time. We can certainly go lower than where we are right now. I mean, especially because of how quickly we blew through these levels of support here, we can certainly, or resistance, they were resistance at the time, and now they flipped to support. Hopefully, we could certainly go much lower than where we are right now and still be in line with this kind of a dip. A 40% drop from the peak would be what? I'm just going to do it off the top of my head, I guess. Lower 50s, about 50, maybe even $48,000. That's within play. It certainly is. So I'm not saying, boom, we're going to bounce back right away. I'm just saying this is, I got a question on my live stream today. A lot of us are worried that it's over. We were prepared for Bitcoin to get to $150,000, and now it's like, what in the world? What are we going to do? And there was never any promise of that. And I'm keeping my price target at $155,000. This is not the kind of thing that would shake me out of that price target. By no means would I be shaken out of that. Now, I want to throw out a little bit of, what's the word? Of, not saying to the moon right away, but there are some things. The spot Bitcoin ETFs, they are a wrench. They're a wrench on the positive side, and they're a wrench on the negative side. On the positive side, we saw Bitcoin hit a new all-time high before the halving. On the negative side, they're going to have an effect on the downsides. On the downside, just like they had an effect on the upside. And what we're seeing with the spot Bitcoin ETFs, we can't ignore this. Of the last 12 days, there's only been positive inflows. 3 of those last 12 days. The last 5 days, we've averaged over $100 million of outflows. And, BlackRock has not added to their stack. Fidelity of recent has started unwinding, and Grayscale has slowed down a little bit. But there's very little buying of Bitcoin right now from the spot Bitcoin ETFs. And the thing that caused Bitcoin to rise so rapidly over such a short period of time was that the spot Bitcoin ETFs were adding hundreds of millions and sometimes even billions of dollars a day to their stacks worth of Bitcoin. And now they're unloading hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. That is certainly going to have an effect on where we are right now. As soon as they started slowing down, that is around the time that Bitcoin peaked. And then it was kind of in the middle, we were having some off days, some red days, some black days, and we were stagnant. And now we're seeing straight red. And of course, Bitcoin's going down and altcoins are hemorrhaging. Except for today, they've held up pretty well in comparison to Bitcoin. And so it seems, this isn't 100% causation, but it seems like the effect of the spot Bitcoin ETFs is taking place. And so then what's going to cause the price to rise? Well, I would assume a sort of leveling off in the holdings of the spot Bitcoin ETFs. And then we would see the effects of the halving taking place over a matter of a few months. So that has me think best case scenario over these next few months is that we're going to crab or go lower, but not that we're going to go up. You never know. You never know in this wild world of crypto. But sell in May and go away. People are saying that it's May 1st or May 2nd right now, and we will see. So that is addressing the it's over claims, sort of. I want to address this in another way, and that is revisiting the stuff that I talked about in the if video and in the when video. And so I just want to remind you that this is historically what it's looked like when the Fed has raised rates. Give me a second. I'm going to move myself over to this side of the screen so you can see here. But every time, literally every time the Fed has raised rates and then they've paused and then they've lowered rates, we've entered a recession. Fed raises rates, pause, lowers rates. There's this one exception right here in 1965. Okay, one exception. I'll grant you that. But raise rates, pause, lower rates, recession. Let's get to 2008 here because there's something very important that happened in 2008, 2007, 2008. So the Fed raised rates aggressively, 04, 05, 06, got us up to 5.25, 525 basis points, which is where we are now. And then the Fed paused. And then the Dow Jones started showing a lot of weakness. The Dow Jones started showing weakness. And then the Fed lowered rates. And then the Dow Jones pumped for 2 months. It was 2 months of excitement. The Dow Jones hit a new all-time high, but then we hit the biggest recession that we've hit since this chart was the beginning of this chart in 1955, the great financial crisis of 2008. And so we've done the same thing again, but we've raised rates more aggressively and we've paused. And now it's one of those things, when are they going to lower rates? It is the Jerome Powell has already come out and announced that they are not lowering rates in May. It was a 99% chance that they were not going to lower rates. June is very unlikely that they're going to lower rates. And July is becoming increasingly unlikely that they're going to lower rates. My guess would be September, they're going to lower rates. If not, then the next Fed meeting after that's November. And what I would expect is another 2 months, a good 2 month period where the markets will respond initially well to the Fed lowering rates, and then we'll see things peak. We'll see stocks peak, we'll see crypto peak before a recession that I believe will be worse than 2008, but not as bad as the Great Depression. And so what's going to happen during that time or leading up to that time is, in my mind, is the idea that we would see the stock market, Dow Jones, hit new all-time highs. It would show weakness before then, but hit new all-time highs, the NASDAQ hitting new all-time highs, Bitcoin hitting new all-time highs, and the crypto market having maybe a 2 month window of euphoria, the DXY coming down before we are officially in a recession, officially by the United States government standards. I see some comments, we're already in a recession. Well, not by the United States government standards, okay, which I hold very little credence to anyway. But some things that I would like to see. I talked about this in the if video, and this is still a concern of mine. This is a fib chart that I put together from the 2008 financial crisis to today, a fib chart from that 2007 peak to the bear market bottom of $6,600 in the Dow Jones on March 9th of 2008. And then it's been pretty much up only with a few corrections, some crashes, but then the Dow Jones has entered into this new territory, and we had, I think, 8 days above a 4.236 retrace. I would love to see a clean break of the 4.236 retrace, because this is a major psychological level where the rich, the smart money has already used as an opportunity to exit. And they tend to exit a little too early, but you can see it zoomed in here. We spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days above the 4.236 retrace. It is entirely possible that this right here was the peak for the Dow Jones before we enter a recession later this year or 2025 or something like that. But if we were to see, what if, maybe we're wrong about that, maybe I'm wrong about that, and if we were to see a clean break in the Dow Jones just going off into new heights, then that would get me very excited short term about crypto. And there are some bullish signs right now. The VIX got rejected at a key resistance point, and now it's going down. That's a good sign for risk on markets in general. Oil also got rejected at a key point. You may notice that your gas prices, at least in the United States, they're lower than they were a week ago. That's because oil is on a downtrend. That's a good sign economically. There's other things that I could point to that would make me think possibly that the Dow Jones is ready to make a new high. But man, we're right there, the 4.236 retrace. Now the NASDAQ isn't quite there yet. And so maybe we could see the Dow Jones stagnate, but the NASDAQ has a little bit more room to go. And crypto is more correlated to the NASDAQ. And so maybe we ride this along with the NASDAQ. NASDAQ gets to its 4.236 retrace while the Dow Jones stagnates. S&P stagnates as well. And we have another leg up for Bitcoin and for crypto. Bitcoin gets to $100,000, maybe higher. Maybe it gets to $155,000. Or this could all happen. The NASDAQ could get to this 4.236 retrace before we're even talking about rate cuts. We can be bullish short term, believe it or not. Okay. So all these things can still happen. NASDAQ gets to its 4.236 retrace. The NASDAQ 100 has already gotten to a 4.236 retrace. And we can still have a mindset like, all right, there's still a lot of upward potential for the remainder of 2024. I've already expressed my opinion that I don't think the crypto market is peaking in 2025. I think it's peaking in 2024. And according to, again, the Fed rate history, let's say the first time they cut rates is in September, maybe we'd see a peak in November, sometime after the election. And maybe, don't take this as political commentary. I think Donald Trump is right now favored in the polls. If he were to win, what happened in 2016 is that the stock market rallied immediately after. So maybe for a few weeks after that, we'd see a bit of a rally. But then I think it would be over. We'll see. They may have to cut rates in November. They may have to cut rates sooner, but we got to be flexible with that. Now, what if they're right? What if it's over? What if this is not 2017 right here? And I could show you other examples. This right here was a scary time. Bitcoin went from $5,000 down to $3,000, a 40% drop. What if, and then another V-shaped recovery. So what if it's not like this? What if it's what if it's over? Okay. That's what some people are saying right now. And I would say it's an above 0% chance that it's over, but I would say it's much more likely that it's not over. So here's the plan. Here's the game plan. Is where we would lose a lot of support here. Now I drew a new fib chart from the $73,800 peak. And so this is not the same fib chart as what we've been used to seeing from that 2021 peak of $69,000. So here's the worst case scenario that I would see. Now, 702 retrace is $53,000. A 702 retrace from the $69,000 peak to the bear market bottom, that's at $53,000. I believe that there's a lot of support there. We spent a week trying to break through there, and that was our heaviest resistance between $38,000 and $73,000 for Bitcoin. Okay, the bull market support band is, the top of it's around $56,000. The bottom of it right now is around $54,000. Every time we have gotten too far gone from the bull market support band. The next time we revisited the bull market support band, every time historically, we have not been able to hold the 21-week EMA, the 20-week SMA. We've not been able to hold it because there's been too much fear in the market. I mean, I can sense it from a lot of you. There's just a lot of fear right now. And so usually when we've been able to hold the bull market support band, it was in a period of less fear than where we are right now. We did do it in 2018, 2017, but lots of bounces off the bull market support band. But this is a little bit different right now because of how much altcoins have capitulated already. So we would lose that as support. We would lose $53,000 as support, the 702 retrace. And then here's the thing, the halving has happened. Miners right now with a $58,000 Bitcoin, they're still very much in profit, but the average difficulty doubled. The difficulty to mine Bitcoin doubled on the day of the halving. And so miners, their average cost to mine Bitcoin is somewhere between $40,000 and $50,000. If we were to lose $53,000 of support, the next level of support, in my opinion, would be the bottom of the golden pocket, the 618 retrace, that's at $48,000. And if we were to lose that as support, we're at a point where some miners are going to shut down and hash rate's going to drop. And miners may be at a point where they would capitulate, and that would send Bitcoin down well into the, maybe under $40,000. And so here's the play. Again, this is all under the circumstance that those who are calling for $73,800 to be the peak, that they're correct. Here's the play. We get in somewhere around either this 382 retrace, which is at $38,000, or the 200-week simple moving average. That would be a phenomenal entry. As of right now, the 200-week simple moving average is 34,000 and change. It's rising every week. The 200-week simple moving average, and maybe there's a wick below that, so maybe we even go to the 236 retrace around $30,000. I don't think it would get to $30,000. And this is, again, the scenario where they're right. 73,000 was the peak. The 200, I would just be incredibly greedy at the 200-week simple moving average, and then I would be looking to ride this up to the golden pocket. Before, what would I do at that point? The 702 retrace, $56,000, $57,000. And maybe that's, again, 73,000 is a peak. Maybe that's the dead cat bounce. And if and when we get there, I'm going to tell you, there's going to be a lot of people, 95%, 98% of people are going to tell you we're going much higher. And so what's the game plan when we get to the 702 retrace? Well, not financial advice. It's the same game plan that I had when Bitcoin got to the 702 retrace from its 2021 peak, which ended up working out very well for me, which is I started taking half of my crypto off the table. This is going to be the point of decision if we get there. If we go down to the 30s again, 200-week simple moving average, we rise up, 702 retrace, it's going to be the point of decision again. If the people who, if this is the scenario that works out, and the people who are calling for $73,800 to be the peak, if they are right, we're going to get rejected at the 702 retrace, and then that's going to be it. But I don't want to focus on the negatives. I want to tell you, if this is the game plan, there is a great deal of positive that can come out of riding from the 30s up to $58,000. You're going to be able to make a lot of money on Bitcoin and on altcoins as well. But I don't think this is going to happen anyway. I want a game plan for every scenario possible. And this is just one of several different scenarios that I am considering and that I believe you should consider as well. All right. So that is all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your week. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're not panicking. Let the markets do your trades, do your things based on what the market gives you. If you're going to go long, if the markets are in favor, go long. If they're not in favor, there's money to be made on the downside as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section of this video. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you most certainly in the next video. Peace.